Okay, good afternoon. Today we're going to be working on our explanatory essay brainstorm. So in order to do that, you should have a piece of lined paper at your desk. It'll look just like mine. Throughout the video, please make sure that you're pausing and writing as you're supposed to pause and write. A lot of you were not doing that the last time, and your brainstorms were not super great. I'm not going to lie to you. This one, I would like it to be perfect, because in order for it to make sense for your essay, in order for it to be an effective tool for you, it should be something that is well done. So first things first, we are going to go to the upper right hand corner of your paper, and you're going to write your name. Not like that. You're going to write your name. Oh, yeah, not even that size. Wow. Get it together. Class color is silver, and then today's date is November 2nd. So go ahead and pause, make sure you get that done. All right, then we're going to go over and title this. And the title will be Explanatory Essay Brainstorm. All right, so go ahead and pause, make sure that you get to this point. And then the first line, we're going to do the same thing that we did for our last brainstorm, and that'll be essay type. And we're going to list all three just so that you know you have three to pick from. Remember, this is a strategy that we're using for your end of year test. So we want to make sure everybody understands that there are three different kinds of essays. We don't know which type you'll get to write, but we do want to make sure that you're prepared for all three. So for our essay type, you're going to go ahead and circle explanatory, because that is the kind of essay that we're writing. So go ahead and pause, make sure you get to this point. All right, after essay type, we list our sources. And this is where we're putting the kind of source, make sure we're in there, the title, and the author. Now this is what you did your research tracker on, so you are going to need your packet for this. If you don't have your packet already out, make sure that you pause, take your packet out, and you're going to be looking at the section of your packet that says sources. So that's where we used our highlighters the other day. All right, so we're going to list, we should have at least 3 sources. That's what I asked you guys to find. So the first resource that we used was what we highlighted in yellow. So the kind of source was a website. The title was Occupational Outlook Handbook. And then the author was the Bureau of Labor Statistics. U.S. Department of Labor. All right, so this is so far what you should have. At this point, I want you to pause, make sure that you get this written, and then I want you to raise your hand once you're done with it. And I'm going to come over and I'm going to sign right here in this box. All right, I'll draw it on your paper. I've got a green marker. I want to make sure everybody gets to this point. So pause, make sure all this is written, raise your hand, I'll come and sign it. All right, next step, we're going to be reviewing what does our prompt say. So overall, what are we supposed to be writing about? And this is something you can find also in the unit prompt, which is in your packet. All right, you should have 2 more sources that you list. Remember, you had 3 different sources. And then I want you to go ahead and make sure that you still use your highlighter, that you highlight in the appropriate colors. We have our yellow source here. Got our green source here. And I don't have pink, but you know, red's close enough. Pink source here. All right, if you have any questions on this, great time to raise your hand. All right, next up, we're going to go over our prompt. So if you needed to pause to fill these in, make sure that you pause to fill them in. But our next section is the prompt. And this is just to review, what are you actually writing about? I will write a what kind of essay, and what is it going to be about? Again, this was in your packet. This was in the unit prompt. We went over this together. This is something you already should have written at some point. So go ahead and pause here. Make sure you fill in the blank. If you have any questions, you need to be raising your hand. If you do not raise your hand and you just have blanks all over your paper and say, I'm done, I don't know what to do, you should have raised your hand by this point. After prompt, we're going to be doing our graphic organizer. And when we write this, I want you to always list all of the graphic organizers, because again, I want to make sure that you know exactly which ones you have as an option and which ones you should be using. So graphic organizer, that's going to be a plot mountain or a T-chart or the big idea house. For an explanatory essay, we are using the big idea. We already did a T-chart, which is over here. We already did a T-chart for our argumentative essay. Plot mountain is for narrative. Big idea is for explanatory. So pause, make sure you write all this. And before we draw our graphic organizer, I want to make sure that you leave some space here at the bottom for your thesis statement. We don't want our graphic organizer to take up all of this space because we need to write here at the bottom. So give yourself about 4 lines from the bottom. I'll count 1, 2, 3, 4, and I'll start writing here. We'll come back to it. But for our graphic organizer, since we're doing the big idea house, instead of drawing your big idea house like this, we're going to turn this sideways. So, go turn your paper. You're going to draw a big triangle like this. Notice how mine's not perfect. And then you're going to draw 3 columns as best you can. Beautiful. All right, now in this triangular part, pause at any time. In this triangular part, this is where we're going to put our claim. This is where we're going to put our reasons. So again, at this point, make sure that you've caught up to where I'm at, because the next part's going to require you to do some thinking. All right, so I did review the unit prompt at the beginning of this class period, so I want you to continue with that thinking. And remember that our claim is we are trying to show what the career of whatever chosen path that you did your quiz on, you did your research on. We're trying to show what the education requirements are, the salary is, and what experience is needed, as well as what the job itself actually is, right? So our claim is going to be, or the thing that we're trying to prove is what a job looks like. So in that blank, you're going to put whatever it is, whatever career you researched. So if you put lawyer, you're going to put that here. If you're being an athlete, you're going to put that here. If you're being a salesman, you're going to put that here. Whatever it is that you did your research on, okay? That's what you're going to put in that blank. Then reason number 1 is the education requirements. Okay, so is it a college education? Is it a high school education? Is it graduate education? That's what you're writing in this box. What type of education do you need? You will not be writing all 3. I should not see all 3. You're picking one. All right, I'm going to write that in a different color so you understand. Pick one. All right, go ahead and pause here. If you don't know this information, you need to do some more research. Pause here, catch up. Reason number 2, what is the job responsible for? Are you responsible for advocating for clients? Are you responsible for winning games? Are you responsible for selling products? What is it that your job is responsible for? Try to summarize it in just a few words. Okay, we don't need more than that. Just a few words. And then the last reason is going to be what kind of salary. So is it going to be high, a medium, or a low salary? Okay, so go ahead and pause here. Make sure that you have filled in every single one of these boxes. And then we'll move on to our last point, which is our thesis statement. The career of a blank requires, so again, this is going right back up to this point, and it requires what kind of education? Blank education, which is this first point up here. All right, is responsible for, and this is going back up. Oops. This is, excuse that bell. This is going back up to this point here. What is it responsible for? Remember, just a few words. And has a what kind of salary? Which goes up to this point right here. So see how those all line up? That's the whole point of doing a graphic organizer, is to help you with your thesis statement. Because then eventually we're getting to the point where this is paragraph 1 or paragraph 2. This is paragraph 3. And this is paragraph 4. So overall, you should have your graphic organizer filled out and your thesis statement. At this point, if you still need help, you need to make sure that you at least have the information down with the blanks. Then raise your hand and I will come and help you. But if you need to go back and watch any of this, or if you're asking me questions that I know I answered in this video, you need to make sure that you do it, that you watch this, that you're pausing, that you're writing. I cannot do it for you. All right, this should be a much easier essay to write. So good luck. I expect it to be done by the end of the period.